On this Mortgage Note podcast, we speak with President of Flyhomes, Dan Richards.
Flyhomes has been around for about 10 years now. We were started as a real estate brokerage in Seattle, Washington. And over the years, working kind of boots on the ground directly with home buyers, developed a lot of unique financial products, guarantees, things like that to help facilitate the real estate transaction. And over time, we developed mortgage capabilities, built up a mortgage company, and for the majority of our existence over the first 8 years or so, we were all direct to consumer. And one of the products that we pioneered was concept of buy before you sell, bridge lending in order to cover kind of the gap between selling and buying. And that process evolved quite a bit over time. We used to buy properties on behalf of home buyers and then resell it to them. And then we evolved into actual mortgage lending. And now that's exclusively all we do today. So we are a bridge lender, and we operate exclusively through a wholesale channel.
And as you mentioned, you're devoting everything now to the wholesale lending. What does that mean, and how does it benefit the consumer?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have pivoted pretty significantly over the last couple of years. We're now exclusively focused on lending and primarily on the buy before you sell scenario. And we do so exclusively through third-party originators. We found that the third-party loan officer has that relationship of trust built in already with their buyer and with their real estate agent, and can help educate and train on the benefits of our programs and why it's beneficial to them and how it works. And they can control that whole experience from beginning to end. And happy to get into more about how that works. But ultimately, our goal is to make buy before you sell ubiquitous. We know that 40% plus of all real estate purchases have some kind of home sale contingency. And we want to be able to remove that. We want to make it easier, better, more seamless for home buyers to be able to buy first, then take their time to sell. They can sell for more on average. They don't have to move twice. They save on moving costs. They save on all of the emotional stress and pain of trying to line up a sale prior to buying a home. And we help them do that. And we do so cheaper than anyone else.
So can you walk me through that process? I'm a person who has a house, but I'm looking to upgrade or downsize for whatever reason. What is the process that eventually would involve you and this buy before you sell model?
Absolutely. So typically they'll come to their preferred loan officer and start the process of getting pre-approved, identify how much can I go buy, and they'll know, but typically the loan officer will reiterate that, hey, with your income, most borrowers can't afford to go qualify for a new mortgage while carrying two mortgages at the same time with their DTI ratios and so forth. And by the way, most buyers have equity tied up in their departing residence. And so the buyer will typically come to a loan officer expecting to have to sell first. And a loan officer, knowing about our programs, can then present this as an option. Say, hey, have you considered buying first? And explain all the benefits of that. And if they want to move forward, the loan officer then can come to us. We'll evaluate their departing residence. We'll tell them exactly how much equity they can pull out. And this is all through the loan officer. The loan officer is communicating everything to the borrower. Oftentimes, borrower doesn't even realize Flyhomes exists until they see the disclosures that we're the wholesale lender. But from a process standpoint, if they want to move forward, and let's say they submit an offer on a new home, they go under contract and they want to move forward, we'll put their departing residence under a backup contract. That backup contract gives them 6 months plus to go sell their home on the open market. without needing to sell to us. But we put a kind of a backstop in place to allow them um, to be able to go sell for top dollar with their listing agent of choice. And because we have that backup contract in place, though, the purchase lender who's working with us can disregard all of the trailing debt on the purchase loan and the DTI calculation that they're making for underwriting. And we can also extract equity from their departing residents with our product that we call Instant Equity. It's a super seamless home equity product, extremely easy and quick to originate. We don't collect income, assets, employment verification, anything like that. We rely heavily on the loan officer and the purchase transaction that they're involved in. So we're 100% complementary to the purchase loan that they're already doing. And we line up our funding to be right before the purchase funding, so they have a source of down payment. We've already taken care of the DTI for them, and it's an extremely simple closing process for them. The second product that we offer, which is exclusive to Flyhomes, is we can actually provide a temporary purchase money mortgage as well. So they could come in and actually use our money, our mortgage, to go buy the home. We can close in as little as 10 days. It's a very cash-like experience. We remove all financing contingencies, appraisal contingency, home sale contingency from the actual purchase offer. And that allows them to be extremely competitive in any market condition, and potentially even offer below listing price and get a home at very good value. And then that mortgage, that bridge loan, because it's a temporary loan, needs to be paid off. And so it's typically paid off with a long-term refinance, a rate and term refinance of their choice, kind of like delayed financing. Sometimes if they have enough equity in a departing residence, they can just pay us off with cash after selling the home. So that's kind of a quick overview of how it works.
But I would imagine, though, when they're approached with "you can buy before you sell," that would be a little frightening to the traditional minded person and maybe somewhat of a complicated sell.
It will typically have a lot of questions, and that's the benefit that we've seen going to this wholesale model, where our TPO loan officers are really good at explaining the entire transaction. It's not us trying to convince them that, hey, you really should do this. It's more an option, and it's one product that they can put in front of their buyers. And once they can see the entire cost of the transaction, including opportunity costs of not buying before they sell and so forth, they're able to see a pretty clear picture of, yeah, actually this might work. And because I'm working just exclusively with this loan officer that I came to and already trust, it often makes a lot of sense for them.
Why was it more inviting for the company to go with being a wholesale lender? What was the appeal from your standpoint?
Great question. So part of it is that kind of quote unquote cost to educate or train every consumer on every transaction. If we can train and educate our loan officers and they can kind of be the evangelists and trainers of our product, that helps us leverage the message quite a bit. And so we've seen some pretty tremendous growth since we've made this pivot. Another is the fact that we can expand nationwide much more quickly. So we've gone from a presence in 4 states 2 years ago to 40 states now. So we're doing transactions nearly nationwide, and it's allowing us to really kind of we're absolutely on the path to achieving our vision of going nationwide, making buy before you sell ubiquitous, and being the leader in that market.
What are the 4 states that you were in, and what sort of region do your 40 states occupy at this point?
We started and had real estate agents, loan officers, boots on the ground in Washington, California, Texas, and Massachusetts. There were a couple of other states along the way that we kind of entered and exited, like Colorado. But now our 40 states span almost all of the major markets. It actually covers about 94% of all purchase transactions nationwide. So we're not in a couple of states like New York City, for example, or sorry, New York State, for example. Um, and there are some states like Virginia and Indiana that we're still in the process of getting licensed and spinning up. So we anticipate settling in at around 45 to 47 states in the medium term.
And what sort of goal do you have to become coast to coast? What sort of time frame are you looking at this point, provided everything goes well?
Yeah, I would say I would actually say that we're already there outside of a handful of states on the coasts. Um, and we're seeing demand really across the board. That's one of the things that we identified 2 3 years ago, was that this buy before you sell scenario carries a lot of demand in any market cycle and in any geography. We've had products and still offer products that are more along the power buying. You might have heard that term, power buying, kind of vein, where you can convert it, even for first-time home buyers, convert an offer into a cash offer to be more competitive without any homes to sell. That product, for example, is pretty dependent on the coastal markets or little pockets of, call it Austin, Texas, uh, where there might be more competition on new homes. Um, but we found that buy before you sell is becoming very ubiquitous. That demand is pretty uh, it's definitely prevalent in pretty much any market.
Hmm. Well, I could see where that would be inviting because it would be kind of initially that would be kind of frightening. I would think to feel like you're going to end up with two mortgages, which nobody would ideally want.
And that's one of the benefits of our guaranteed backup contract, is that we are guaranteeing that they are going to sell their home and they will not retain that departing mortgage long term. Because worst case scenario, we'll come in and buy the home, and we'll do so in two installments. The first installment will be a little bit below what they expect the home to be worth. Um, but at least what that will do is it'll pay off their mortgage. It will get all the costs, carrying costs, insurance costs, taxes, etc., off their books, and then we will retain their listing agent of choice. We'll price the property to sell within at least 30 to 60 days. And once we sell, they actually get back 100% of the net proceeds after our closing costs and carrying costs. So we don't take any additional fee or revenue split or anything like that if we buy the home and then resell it. So that's the second installment. And that provides just a ton of peace of mind for them, that they know it's a temporary expense. They know that there's a lot of convenience with very little downside for them.
Yeah, I could see where that would be a comforting thing because yeah, generally buying a home that's a big stressful process just in itself, and to add the possibility of carrying two, I can see where that would be very scary, especially up front.
It
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just agreeing. It's a very emotional process for sure. And we have seen over our lifetime and in my own personal background in this industry, so many people stop their, they get pre-approved, they start shopping, they do some, tour some open houses, they get excited, and then they realize, well, maybe I can't sell my home as quickly as I want, or for as much as I hope, or um, this is just a really complex process and it's going to take, and the light kind of starts to dim, and then they pull out of the process and feel like, oh, maybe I'll just stick around, maybe I'll just stay in my home. And we're hoping that we can really unlock this and provide a lot of certainty and provide a lot of more freedom and more movement and more transparency in this process for our buyers.
Now, the real estate industry, of course, is always evolving. I mean, we have changes of administration, we have shifts in the economy, and many things like that. And sometimes these are drastic shifts. Where does Fly Homes fit into the business as the market is right now? And again, where are you looking to be 5, even 10 years down the road?
Flyhomes is intentionally very much behind the scenes in the real estate transaction. And we are 100% complementary to a purchase loan, a long-term loan that a third-party originator is already working on. So whether they're a broker or a lender and they're coming to us to facilitate a buy before you sell transaction, they already know and have in mind what long-term loan a borrower plans to get. They've priced it out for them. They have done their job to advise them on this journey of financing and long-term kind of sustainability in their new home. And because of the model that we've set up with wholesale broker relationship, we as a wholesale lender are really only disclosing underwriting, closing, funding, and servicing. And the origination, the processing, all of the conditions, the back and forth, the communication, we support and provide tools for our loan officers and all of the data and the details, but they're the ones to deliver that to the borrower. And so they are front and center, right? And that's our goal, is to kind of be the almost the rails of the real estate transaction behind the scenes, under the surface, that just make things work. And that's our goal, is to make that much, much, much more ubiquitous. We have, since we began this journey at the beginning of last year, so just in the last 18 months that we launched our wholesale channel, we have unlocked $1.2 billion in additional funding, in additional volume for our third-party originators that they would not have had otherwise. And that's equated to more than $30 million in additional revenue for them. And so that excites us. That's what gets us out of bed in the morning. And we're solving problems. We're unlocking these transactions that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And oh, by the way, as a broker, and not just a referral, but a true brokered transaction, they're actually able to charge a little bit of broker comp on top of our origination fees for the actual bridge loan themselves. So they have, they have the long-term transaction that they're already working through. Our buy before you sell solution just layers right on top of that, and oftentimes they're able to charge even a bit more. So they're getting new transactions and more revenue than they expected.
Yeah, I could see where that would be in inviting for a loan company to get to know you in a program like this.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and frankly, we see so much growth ahead. You asked about kind of where we hope to be in the near future and in the long-term future. The market in front of us is just massive. If you think about 40% plus of all purchases today having a home sale contingency, and coming to the table thinking, I've got to sell my home first because that's where all my equity is tied up, and I can't carry two mortgages. I'm not going to qualify for a new loan. And here we go, right? But 40, that's 2 million plus homes transactions a year that could benefit from this solution. And we are literally just scratching the surface now.
Where do you find yourself geographically the most active as far as people choosing this sort of route to go with the, buying before you sell? I understand that Austin is a booming market. Phoenix, I was told very recently, is a booming market right now, as is Atlanta. Where do you find your most activity geographically right now?
Great question. A lot of it is it correlates with population and where the actual purchase transactions are happening. So California is our top market. Florida is next, Texas after that, Washington, Colorado. Those are kind of round out our top five. Markets like Georgia are a bit newer for us, but we're seeing a lot of trending momentum in the Atlanta area, for example, and some of the newer states that we've added. There's a lot of early momentum there, which is a lot of fun to see.
So some of the growth you're seeing is actually happening pretty quickly for you then.
It is, yeah. We in our first 2 quarters of this year, we 10x'd our volume from January to June. Um, and we anticipated that type of growth, and so we've made sure that we have products and people and processes in place that can really scale. We also have great capital market solutions lined up with funding and forward flow agreements and so forth to really be able to scale this. And that's actually one of our kind of secret sauces is we've been able to unlock these financial products at a lower cost than our competitors and others who are providing these solutions because of the lower cost of capital to us. So we're passing on all of the savings to our borrowers and to our LOs who are bringing us business, and it's allowed us to really kind of stay behind the scenes. Our cost to originate is extremely low, so we've been able to become profitable as a company, and see the benefit there while also keeping our costs extremely low, and in fact the lowest out there. So it's been a lot of fun to see that come together.
And a little bit more about you. What is your background and how did you find yourself here, especially coming up with these innovative plans to do the wholesale lending?
Great question. My career is broken into really kind of two different chapters. I started out down a kind of a traditional path of business school, technology companies, Google, Microsoft, et cetera. Had the opportunity about 15 years ago to take over a family business, and which was a regional mortgage bank out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And that was a kind of pivotal moment in my career that started this journey in this industry, and one that's become really sticky for me. Um, but we were able to sell our family business a couple of years after that to Academy Mortgage. I stayed on with Academy for a number of years, moved into over to SoFi where I ran home loans for them, and came across Flyhomes. Had a couple of friends who had come over here and just saw the vision. You know, there was obviously a lot of challenges, a lot of constraints. This was in 2022 with the rate environment and all of the kind of non-buy before you sell business lines and product lines were had their share of challenges as did most of the rest of the industry. But I saw this potential, and having gone through this experience myself a couple of times, at least a few times, buying homes and selling homes and so
On this Mortgage Note podcast, we speak with President of Fly Homes, Dan Richards.
forth. Um, I saw this vision of buy before you sell becoming ubiquitous and becoming the default way people do this. And over the last few years, it's been a lot of fun to be able to kind of figure out exactly how to go to market, how to bring this to the masses, how to do so at a low cost, and provide a great experience kind of behind the scenes. And it's been really fulfilling.
So, as you mentioned a little bit before, what excites you about coming in every day and really facing this grind and, you know, approaching it from trying to be innovative and thinking outside the box, but at the same time, staying stable and on your feet as well?
Yeah, it honestly, it is working with these loan officers, solving problems. Um, I think half of my day is still spent on the phone with loan officers, working through transactions, understanding from the very front lines what's working, what's not working, how we can make things happen. And I know it's a bit cliche, but seeing these transactions work and seeing people be able to buy and move into homes and feel confident and comfortable and hopeful about their future and their new environment, while having complete peace of mind that things are going to work out on the back end, is like unbelievably fulfilling. It's made a huge difference in my life with my family and the home that we've built. We've been in the same home for the last 10 years, and we've been able to provide amazing experiences for our children and in our neighborhood and so forth. And being able to bring that to others, again, a little bit cliche, but it's extremely fulfilling.
What would be the process? Let's say I'm an independent loan officer and our podcast is the first that I've heard of you. What is the process from that point of just learning about you to eventually partnering up with you? How long of a process is that, and what do you teach me as that loan officer that helps things along?
Great question. The easiest way to do this is just go to flyhomes.com. You'll see a call to action right there on the homepage at the very top to get started. If you have an example scenario in mind, which, by the way, I've found that most loan officers have someone in their pipeline or someone they're pre-approving or have pre-approved recently who has a home sale contingency where this could be valuable. So bring that scenario to us. And that's the best way to learn how this works and how much it's going to cost and what the process is to actually bring us a live deal. No commitment at all. And we'll get a solid quote that we will stick to same day. And if you're not, you've never worked with Flyhomes before, your organization that you work for has never worked with Flyhomes before, and you're brand new to this, there's an additional process to get approved as a broker. So just like any other wholesale lender, we work with Comergence. They're a great platform, really simple to kind of get signed up, and we get an agreement in place. That process can take as little as 2 days. And so it's actually really common for us to see a live transaction that's actually moving forward. Maybe they're already under contract on a purchase. A broker brings us a deal. They're not approved yet. We can get them up and running, get disclosures out, have everything funded by close of escrow. So it's a really seamless process. It doesn't cost anything to our brokers. And it's a great kind of arrow to add to their quiver.
If you are a loan officer or lender and would like to learn more about Flyhomes and the buy before you sell model, you can learn more about them at flyhomes.com. I'm Scott Kimbler. Thank you for joining us on the Mortgage Note Podcast.